23 years diabetic, and my feet still wake up with me every morning. Not numb, not asleep, not screaming with pins and needles. Just there. Normal. Mine. I'm Robert. I'm AB3. And I'm not telling you that because I'm special. I'm telling you because there's one specific thing I do every single night for about 2 minutes that I believe has more to do with that than anything else in my routine. I still climb my own porch steps without grabbing the railing. I carry my own groceries in from the driveway, both arms full, no resting halfway up the walk. That's not bragging, that's the whole point of this video. Here's the question nobody asks out loud. Why do some diabetics in their 80s still feel their feet completely, while others my age can't feel the floor under them at all? It's not just luck. It's not just good genes. Something is different in how blood and nerve signals move through their legs at night while they sleep, when nobody's paying attention. For most of us, blood sugar does its worst damage quietly, over years, not in a single dramatic moment. When glucose runs high for a long stretch, it starts sticking to proteins throughout your body in a process researchers call glycation. This has been studied since the early 2000s as one of the central ways diabetes damages the body over time, and two of its favorite targets are the long nerves running down to your feet and the tiniest blood vessels that keep those feet supplied with oxygen. Research has consistently linked this glycation process to the numbness, tingling, and burning that so many of us over 60 know far too well. But here's what almost nobody explains. Nerves and small vessels don't just get damaged by high sugar sitting still in the blood. They get damaged worse when blood flow to the legs is already sluggish, when circulation isn't moving well enough to deliver nutrients and clear out that glucose overnight. And for people who sit most of the evening in a chair in front of a television, blood pools in the lower legs instead of circulating. Your legs actually have a name for the mechanism that fights this. Doctors and physiologists call it the calf muscle pump, or the peripheral venous pump. Every time your calf muscle contracts, it squeezes the veins running through it and pushes blood back up toward your heart against gravity. Sit still for hours and that pump goes idle. Move it, even briefly, and you reactivate it. That's the entire secret behind what I do every night. Right before bed, while I'm brushing my teeth, honestly, so it costs me no extra time, I do slow ankle circles, 10 each direction, each foot. Then I do a set of calf raises, rising up onto my toes and back down, about 15 of them, holding the counter if I need to for balance. 2 minutes. That's the whole ritual. If your feet burn at night, or go numb, or feel cold, no matter how many socks you wear, please don't ignore it. I almost did, and I'm 80 years old. For years I told myself it was just age, the tingling, the heaviness in my legs climbing the stairs. But it wasn't age. It was my blood sugar quietly damaging the nerves and the circulation in my legs, and almost nobody warned me in time. If you let it keep going, those little signals turn into something you can't undo. I wasn't willing to lose my feet or my independence. So I started doing one thing every single day to help support healthy blood sugar and protect my legs. I'll show you exactly what in this video. And if you want the simple support I personally use, there's a free presentation linked in the description below. Why does something this small matter? Because this movement does two things at once. First, it activates that calf pump, pushing pooled blood back towards circulation instead of letting it sit stagnant in your lower legs overnight, the exact hours when nerve and vessel damage tend to compound. Second, muscle contraction pulls glucose out of your bloodstream through a pathway that doesn't even need insulin to work, something exercise physiologists have documented for decades. 2 minutes of movement and you're doing double duty, circulation and glucose, right before the longest still period of your whole day. Your doctor almost certainly never mentioned this. Not because it's a secret, because a standard appointment runs somewhere around 8 minutes, barely enough time to review medications and check numbers, let alone teach a 2-minute bedtime routine that costs nothing and requires no prescription pad. It falls through the cracks of a system that's stretched too thin, appointment after appointment. I want to be straight with you about something else, too. This 2-minute habit works best as part of a small system, not a single silver bullet. Alongside the ankle circles and calf raises, I keep 3 other things steady. I take a short walk after dinner because movement soon after eating helps blunt the blood sugar climb that follows a meal. I keep my bedroom on the cooler side because a body kept too warm overnight disrupts the hormone rhythm involved in blood sugar regulation. And once or twice a week, I soak my feet for 10 minutes in warm water with a couple cups of Epsom salt, which some research links to improved local blood flow and to magnesium, a mineral many people with type 2 diabetes run low on, something documented in research on magnesium and insulin sensitivity. I sleep straight through most nights now. No getting up to shake out a foot that's gone to sleep. No 3 a.m. cramp doubling me over. I still drive myself to see my friends on Sundays, which at my age is not something everybody my age can say. Let me be clear that this isn't a fix for everyone, every night, forever. Some nights my legs still feel heavier than others, especially after a long day of sitting in the car or at a doctor's office. But the trend over months matters far more than any single night, and the trend has been steady for me.
A woman named Ingrid Halverson wrote to me a while back. 79, retired schoolteacher from Duluth, 19 years diabetic. She told me she used to dread bedtime because her feet would go numb the second she lay flat, and she'd have to sit up and shake them awake again. She started the ankle circles and calf raises as a bedtime habit alongside her evening walk. 2 months later, she wrote that the numbness hadn't vanished completely, but it had gone from every night to maybe once a week. I share her story not as proof of a cure, but as an honest example of what steady attention can look like over time. Let me walk you through the actual mechanics, because the details matter more than people assume. Ankle circles. Sit or stand, lift one foot slightly off the floor, and rotate it slowly from the ankle. 10 full circles clockwise, 10 counterclockwise, then switch feet. Calf raises. Hold onto a counter or the back of a sturdy chair. Rise up onto the balls of both feet as high as you comfortably can, pause for a second at the top, then lower slowly, not a drop, a controlled lowering, because the lowering is where a lot of the muscle work actually happens. 15 repetitions is a reasonable target, but even 8 or 10 done consistently beats 15 done once and abandoned. Timing matters too. Doing this right before bed means the pump activation happens right before your legs go still for 6, 7, 8 hours, the exact stretch where pooling and nerve stress would otherwise build undisturbed. Some people prefer doing it in front of the television during the last commercial break before bed, which works just as well as long as it happens close to lights out. I'd be lying if I said this was the only reason my feet still feel normal. It's one piece of a small system I've kept for years, and I think the system matters more than any single piece of it. The after-dinner walk keeps my blood sugar from spiking as high after meals. The cooler bedroom helps my body settle into deeper, more consistent sleep, which research ties to healthier overnight hormone patterns, including the ones involved in blood sugar regulation. And the occasional warm Epsom salt soak gives my feet a boost of local blood flow on the meetings my legs feel more tired than usual, on top of a modest amount of magnesium the skin can absorb. None of this replaces what your doctor has you on. This is something to do alongside your treatment, and it's worth mentioning at your next visit, especially if numbness has become a nightly guest in your life. I think a lot about the people my age I see out walking their own dogs, carrying their own bags, driving themselves wherever they need to go, and the ones who've stopped, who now depend on someone else for every errand. The difference usually isn't dramatic. It's 2 quiet minutes night after night that either happened or didn't. It's the accumulation of 1,000 small nights, not one heroic effort, that decides which group you end up in a decade from now. It's not too late to make those 2 minutes a habit. Your legs are still capable of that pump, still listening for the signal, even after years of sitting too still. If you made it this far, you already understand more about your own legs than most people your age ever will. That matters. You know now that the burning, the numbness, the cold feet, they trace back to one thing: blood sugar slowly working against your nerves and circulation. And you know the goal isn't a miracle. It's protecting your ability to stand, to walk, to stay independent. That's why, alongside everything I showed you today, I use a simple daily support to help keep my blood sugar in a healthy range, so my legs keep carrying me where I want to go. I put the free presentation in the description below. Go watch it. And as always, keep working with your doctor.
This supports your routine. It doesn't replace it. If you try the ankle circles and calf raises tonight, tell me in the comments how your feet feel in the morning. I read every single one. And if this made sense to you, subscribe, because there's more like it coming.